So continuing with the presentations on the theme of AI for research and learning, we'd now like to welcome Dr. Kin-Choong to speak on Gen AI and its application in software engineering. So a bit of a bio. Well, we just get queued up here. So Dr. Kin-Choong obtained his B Engineering Electrical with first-class honors from the National University of Singapore in 1993 and his PhD from Cambridge University, UK in 1998. He joined the University of Regina in September of 2018, where he's a professor and the program chair of the Software Systems Engineering program in the Faculty of Engineering and Applied Science. His research interest is in artificial general intelligence and smart environments. He's published over 120 international journal and conference papers and served as a reviewer for many journals and conferences. He's editor-in-chief of the Journal of Advances in Information Technology, a managing editor of the International Journal of Information Technology, and a guest editor of the NDPI Applied Sciences. He is the recipient of the 2025 IEEE Canada's EF Glass Western Canada Merit Medal, and he was also the recipient of the 2025 University of Regina Faculty of Engineering Applied Sciences Teaching Excellence Award, and has been invited to give keynotes and invited talks at various scientific meetings and workshops. So please join me in welcoming him.
Thank you very much, Carla, for that long introduction. I'm a professor with the university, so I teach certain classes here, and also in our software engineering program. So we have to address all these changes, all this emergence of this Gen AI. So therefore, in this talk, I want to share with you how do we deal with that? How do we try to introduce Gen AI into our curriculum? How do we let our students learn how to use them? Right? And then maybe some of the feedback that you see there. Right, so basically, my talk, I will talk about how Gen AI, a bit about the motivation, how Gen AI is changing the way we are doing things, and then now how do I put that into our SSE courses. And then after, I'll just share with you some of the students' feedback about what they see there. Now, so first of all, so if you look at some of the news, recent news. Now, so this is January 21st, right? You can see that, so the date is there. So this is actually published on January 21st. So the Anthropic CEO says that AI is going to replace every single software engineer by 2027. And that's very soon. Okay? That's very soon. And another news, Microsoft AI CEO predicts most of the white-collar tasks, right, will be replaced by AI within 18 months. So again, this is, we're talking about February 12th. Right? So therefore, so this is what we are looking at. Some more, NVIDIA, so 30,000 of their engineers are now using this AI coding assistance. Right? So some companies, even Anthropic says that some of their senior engineers is 100% using AI to do coding. Right? So companies like Canva, they also say, yeah, they are doing that as well. So people are increasingly moving into using AI to code. And of course, they say the output has tripled, right? If they use AI, the efficiency that is very high with using AI. Then this article says now hiring managers now wants the prospective employees to show that they know how to use AI. So therefore, so this is becoming a requirement now. So it's not that in the past I'm good at coding, I can get my job, but now no, you need to know how to use AI as well. And therefore that's why we see a shift, right? So therefore, so Anthropic now says now engineers actually they're now even more important. Right? The AI is not just coming to replace the engineers. Engineers are now more important because now you are managing that software. You're not just writing the software, you're managing that. Right? And now with all these AI tools, you need to have that additional knowledge of how do you manage that. So the role is actually is different and it's very important. Oops, sorry, what did I do? I think I accidentally blanked the screen. Thanks. Then Anthropic, right? Again, they predict that the software engineer title, right, will go away. So in the future, it will not be software engineers. It will be product manager or code manager or something, right? So we do not know. But this is what's happening in the news now, right? So therefore, it's really a change, right? And therefore, we as software engineering, we are concerned and we want to look at how can we address this. Now, so how do we now put that into our curriculum? Now, so you see, there is a big dilemma here, right? So firstly, see, there are criticisms, right? And the main criticism is that, see, Gen AI replaces our thinking, right? And that's true. It's true. So if you use AI to do everything for you, you don't think, right? Just like in the past, when you have no mobile phone, I remember my home phone number. I remember my girlfriend's phone number, right? I remember everything, right? Now, I don't know any of them. So if I'm stuck somewhere, stranded somewhere, my phone is out of battery, I cannot get help, right? So that's what we are becoming, right? And it's true. So if it's AI, that if the dependency is on AI does everything for us, it's going to be a big problem, right? So, but of course, no, that's not something that I can change, right? So, and therefore that's the worry, right? And our students may not know how to write code anymore, and that is the big worry there, right? So therefore, some of the faculty members, right, so who are critics of Gen AI will say, no, yeah, we should not allow them to use AI at all in the assignment. Everything they must write themselves from scratch. Right? Or they say that, now I can have some oral interview, after you submit your code, oral interview, I want to make sure you can explain every single line of code. Right? So, but again, that's difficult to achieve, right? So it's like, even if you write your thesis, right, your master thesis or your final year report, can you explain everything you do there? Maybe not, right? Sometimes you forget, sometimes you may not know in detail how things work. So therefore, all this has a problem, right? Therefore, so we realize that denying the use of Gen AI is not going to help our students, right? And in engineering, engineering is all about using tools to build things, right? And Gen AI is a tool that you can use, right? So, for example, if I want to build a building, right, I'm going to use levers, right? I'm going to use pulleys. I'm not going to carry it and put it there myself. Right? So therefore, that is how engineering is about. So we have to embrace these tools, right? Use them, but of course, at the same time, we must know what are the limitations. So therefore, how do we do that? So in our course, so what I do is that, see, we explicitly allow students to use it in an assignment. We tell them, you can use it. And therefore, but in the assignments, now we have to put in some specific requirements, right? So that the students have to do some thinking. Right? If you make it so easy, I just prompt, just ChatGPT, I prompt, I get an answer, I submit, everything works, then yes, then it's true, you don't know anything. So I have to change something, right? I may have to change the input or output format, I have to put some requirements like timing and so on. So I have to do that, right? And then after that, then the submission that they have, I have to evaluate that, right? Evaluate that with various test cases to test that it works. Because in software, industry, that's how people do that anyway, right? If a human write the code, we have a lot of test cases to test that it works for all the different situations. So that's why we're going to do that here, right? So therefore, that's why the question we ask is that, see, if AI write the code instead of a human, and that AI code pass all these tests, are you going to deploy it? You probably will, right? Because if a human write the code, we test it and we deploy it. Now, if AI does that and it passes all the tests, why not? So therefore, that is the thinking there. So therefore, what I do is I just share with you. So this is one of the courses that we have, ENSE 311. It's the course on AI. We teach students AI concepts, principles. We teach them all the different models and tools. So I think this is the most appropriate course for us to introduce this idea, right? To let them use AI for their assignments. So therefore, this course has like 5 homework assignments and then 5 lab assignments. So students have to submit code. The code must run. Right? So this is a requirement. If the code doesn't run, it's 0 right away. So they have to make the code run. Right? Then now is whether the code is giving the right answer or not. Right, so the example I'm going to use is an example. Is the assignment 2 is on a set of problems called constraint satisfaction problems, or CSP. So the idea is that, yeah, you have to try to search for a solution that meets all those constraints. Right? So an example is solving Sudoku. Right? Yeah, so actually I can show you the whole PDF, but maybe I will just skip that. Right? I'll just show you screenshots of the assignment. So we ask them to solve Sudoku. Right? So we learn about some AI algorithms in class, so apply those to solve this. Right? And we allow them to use AI. Right? So therefore, we put in requirements, like for example, we say, yep, it must be 3 different sizes. Right? So you can easily find code on internet that solve a standard 9x9. Right? But if you want some other sizes, you may not find those codes so readily. So therefore, we put that in. So we made the students think a bit now how to extend from a 9x9 to a, say 16x16. Right? Then we also have some limit. You have to solve this in 5 seconds. Right? So that means if you just take some code from somebody and that is not optimized, it's not going to run it in that time that's given to you. So you have to think about how to optimize it. So it forces you to think and understand and interact with the code and make modifications. Then also we also ask them. So I explicitly says yes, it's allowed to use all these GenAI tools, and then we also specify a certain input and output format. Okay, so you have to enter in that way. Because if they just find some code from the internet, the output, it can be in some other format, right? Or the input some other format. So we specify that you must do this. So you have to at least go to your code and modify your code to make it accept this particular format. So therefore, that's what we do. So this is an assignment, right? To give an assignment, the students complete the assignment, they submit their code. Then we grade them by testing the code on various test cases, and we give marks, right, for meeting all the requirements or part of the requirements. So example of the grading will be something like this. So we test that Sudoku 4x4, 9x9, 16x16. We check format, we check the grade and whether the correct output or not. Right? And then we give marks accordingly to that. Right? So just like in the real world, so the software, we test the software for various possible inputs. And then we see whether it works. Right? If it doesn't work, that means you probably have just copied something blindly and you didn't think about it enough. Right? So therefore, that's an example of that. Right. Then, of course, another concern is plagiarism, right? So how do I know that you didn't copy it from your friend? So in software engineering, we have a computer software called MOSS, M-O-S-S, that actually check for plagiarism of source codes. Like you check two computer programs and check how similar they are. Now, if let's say if you get 90% or higher, this is a very high match, right? Then we will flag that to the constructors. Right, so example of the output using MOSS, it will be something like this. So these are all the student submissions, right? So we are just matching one with another. So you can see the the numbers behind there shows the percentage similarity. Right, so we can see actually most of them are quite low, right? 7%, 11, 12, 36, some 45. Now that's first line is a 99%. Right? That's actually because it's exactly the same file. Right? I just copied that into a different directory called test when we want to test that program. So that's why it does detect that it's exactly the same, 99%. But whereas the rest are not. Right. And then, so if you go into any one of them, then it actually displays the similarity. Then you also show the code, and you will highlight the blocks of code that are similar. Right. But in this case, they are actually not very similar. Right. So it's 15 to and 22%. So that's why. So this is all good. So therefore, this is what we use to check plagiarism. Right. But this is not about whether you can use AI. It's not an AI detector. We're not detecting whether you use AI or not, but whether you just copy directly from a friend without thinking. Right, so so those are things actually I want to share with you there. So finally, it's just some of the students' feedback from those that took this course. So therefore, throughout the course, we have asked them in various ways. Asked them, you can give me verbally, you can write to me. There's also an anonymous feedback at the end of the semester, so the students can give all the feedback there. And some feedback includes, so this student uses different AI tools to generate answers. Not just one of them. He used ChatGPT, he used Gemini, they use Claude, right? And he says that actually they don't all give the same answers, and some are wrong. In fact, 2 of them were wrong, and only 1 was correct. Right? So this shows that the students is aware, right? They are not blindly taking the output and submitting. They are aware that it can be wrong, and they do check it. Right? Another feedback, this student is actually should write the code himself first, and then he used the AI to check his code after that. Another feedback, so this AI does help them reduce the amount of time to complete the assignment. Right? So now these students can finish the assignment in about 1.5 hours. So see, in engineering, our students take quite a lot of courses, right? It's about 5 courses per semester. So, and if each course has homework that needs 10 hours to do, the student has no time for anything, right? So therefore, we do want to keep the assignment manageable. So, and therefore, using this AI tool does help them do things faster, and they're happy with that. Then another one is like, so these students understand that AI makes mistakes, so the students know, right? And then the students know that it's their responsibility to rectify that, right? And therefore, you actually find that, it's important, right? For this student to learn, get experience in using this, as well as to learn how to use it properly. Then, so this one says, does this AI give you a code that uses a different layout? Right, so probably the way he prompt the AI wasn't correct, probably. So it gives you a solution that's a different layout, and then he still has to debug the code. So this student is frustrated. I still have to do the work. Why am I paying for the AI when I still have to do the work? Right, and then they give up and start from scratch. See, so not everybody is happy with AI. Right, and so then another feedback is that the solution that the student have doesn't complete the execution in the time. See, I asked for 5 seconds. So they have a solution, AI give a solution, but this solution doesn't meet the requirements. So this one is forced to look at it or forced to find another solution. Right? So therefore, these are the kind of experience that our students are facing. All right, so therefore, in conclusion, I just want to say, now Gen AI is changing the way we do things in software engineering. It's changing the way, right? And therefore, as a university, right, as a program, we try to help our students to learn all these skills, right? Understand that so that they can be effective at work, right? So that they can be one of those people shortlisted, right, for the next round of job interview, right? And therefore, we find that the students are positive and they are welcoming of this change. All right, so with that, thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any questions.